Good afternoon, everybody. I think it's great that we have so much chatter and everybody's so friendly with one another. So again, thank you for coming, and we will start with our April meeting of the Residents' Council. Here is our agenda. I will make some remarks as usual, and Erica will follow me. And then we have two spotlights, one on the Environment Committee, one on the Chamber Music Committee. And then we'll hear about a new committee, Talking Public Affairs. We want to congratulate a few people who've gotten their ducks in a row sticker. And then we'll have our usual Monday market report, our treasurer's report, minutes, and then there's a burning question this month. There wasn't any last month, you may remember, and then there'll be some other questions, or time for questions, I hope. So, moving on. I want to talk about 4 topics this month. More on the West Tower transition. I will probably be talking about that all year. An update on a program that's coming up about AI. There's a vacancy on the Residents' Council, and then just something very brief on the integrated art in the West Tower that I mentioned last month. So, as we know, our West Tower transition, not really a conundrum. We've pretty much solved the conundrum. How do we continue to have a functional community when the West Wing spaces that we have been using are no longer available? And I hope you all attended the March 31st presentation by Brian Holtz, where he explained where the activities will be moved until the West Tower, the new West Tower, opens. I think that Brian did a brilliant job in his presentation and an extraordinary job moving everything. If you didn't get a chance to attend, and it looks like most of you did, but if you didn't, I just want to explain that you can go to HH Connect, click on Watch HH Videos, and then Master Plan and West Wing decommissioning video to see the YouTube video. And let me show you what that looks like. So this is the home page of the of HH Connect, and then you'll see Watch HH Videos. You click on that, and you come to this page, and you will see the third from the left, unless it's moved, if, you know, it moves if we have more videos to show. But you'll see the one that says Master Plan and West Wing Decommissioning Update. I hope you can read that. It's right above Jennifer's head. For a summary of where all those new temporary locations are going to be, you want to go to the home page of HH Connect, and then click on HH Leadership and then West Tower Expansion, and I'll show you that one too. You see at the very top, it says Residents' Council, Wellbeing, Dining, and then HH Leadership. Click on HH Leadership, and then under that you will find the 3 topics: the Phase 1 closures, the ones that need to happen soonest because they are currently located in the West Wing. The Phase 2, which are the later changes that will occur when that connection between the current buildings and the new building happen. And then the dining room pathway that will allow us to exit from 2 directions from the dining room should there be an emergency. What we're doing now is the Transition Committee is working collaboratively with the Communications Department as well as with Brian to ensure that we all have regular, timely, and accurate information as we proceed with the demolition of the West Wing and the construction of the new tower. And we met yesterday, and let me tell you a few of the things that we discussed then. We reviewed the comments that you made and the questions that you had at Brian's presentation, and there were quite a number that we need to continue working on. One of those that you raised that really hadn't been thought about, and that's why we want everybody's input as we go along. You talked about, what about handicap parking and what about guest parking? Because right now the plan is for guests to be parking on the street as close as they can find, because we expect the parking lots to be very full with our residents. But there may be some cases where we can find a little room, and particularly for guests who may be handicapped, who can't walk any distance from street parking, to be able to reserve a space. So that's something that Brian will be working very hard on. It was also suggested that we have maps of where the new locations will be, and those will be developed and put on HH Connect, where we will have the upcoming new information. There's also going to be a master plan, an upgrade for Freeway Park, which I didn't really know much about, but apparently they're finally going to get those fountains working and do a few other things. And we're sure that you all will want to be using Freeway Park more than you are now when we lose those first two patios. And so Freeway Park ought to be more inviting than it currently is. And we hope that we can get someone to explain to all of us what those changes are going to be. And then Brian briefly mentioned a company called Splice. That is a company that Horizon House contracted with to help in all of the details that are necessary to take care of as we move through this process of moving various functions to other places. And as we talked, I realized what an enormous and detailed project this is going to be, and how much Brian and Eli will need that help, along with all of our other employees. And to take just one example of something I never thought of, but you know how we have directional signs all over the place pointing to an elevator for this and a stairway for that and so forth? Well, we have to change a lot of those, and particularly for Monday Market, because we will no longer be directed to the West Wing. We will be directed to the third floor of the East Tower. So little things like that Splice is going to help with and make things hopefully go more smoothly than they otherwise would have. The other thing we talked about was making sure that there is a dedicated place where you can always go for the latest correct information about what is happening. And we would like that to be a dedicated space on the home page of HH Connect. Something where it's very clear this is where you go, and we would like that to be updated every week. And even if we don't have anything new, we'd like it to say, you've come to the right place, we have nothing new this week. So we hope that we'll be up and running sometime in May. We've been told to give the communications department a little grace time because they're working on so many things, and really there isn't a whole lot new that's going on right now. So look forward to all of that. Now, let me see. Oh, I wanted you to know who the resident members of the West Tower Transition Committee are, and we will get those posted also on the bulletin board. But besides me, is it already done? Carly's already taken care of that. So it's me and Bill Jones. Bill, raise your hand. And Barbara Knight. There she is. Josie Miller. David Perrin. Karen Smith. And Sam Sperry. So if you ever have any questions about what's going on, or you want us to be aware of something, or you want to make a suggestion, please talk to one of us, and hopefully we can move forward with that, or we can answer your question or find somebody who can answer the question. Next topic. I wanted to bring your attention to a program on artificial intelligence. Some time ago, I was asked by the Director of Innovation and Technology if there was any special program, any special need we had. And quite a lot of you said, oh, I've been getting this notice on my cell phone or my laptop about using AI, or it's landed there somehow and I don't know anything about it. So I asked him to try and do a program on that. And so he's got someone. This will be April 21st at 7:30 in the evening. That's a Monday. And I think there's going to be a lot of theory and general information about artificial intelligence and what it can do for us, and maybe about some of the things that we're all worried about in regard to AI. But I hope that there will also be some practical details, or you can ask those questions of him. I wanted to also let you all know that Ann Kelly resigned from the Residents' Council. We're very sorry about that. We hope to fill her position by the next meeting. Bill is chair of the nominating committee, and he will be going around asking if who might want to fill that position. But I do want us all to acknowledge everything that Ann has done for Horizon House. She served for Ann served for 2.5 years on the Residents' Council. She was vice president for administration. She chaired the Spring Fling last year, and the Bunny Hop, and the Christmas party. And as you all know, she did a great job with the burning question at the end of every one of these meetings. So thank you very much, Ann. And the last topic I wanted to mention, you'll recall that at our last meeting, I talked quite a bit about how much I had enjoyed being on the Integrated Art Committee, where we selected an artist, or artists plural, to design the art piece for the new West Tower. And you asked who that was. And they are Laura Haddad and Tom Drugan. The name of their firm is Haddad Drugan, and you can look them up on find their website and look at the art that they have done for other projects, other places. We will have something unique, so don't look at those and think, oh, that's what we're getting. It will be something specific to us. And one of the reasons that we hired them, or Horizon House hired them, was because they want to engage. For every project they have done, they have engaged the people who will be using that or viewing it the most. And so they will be seeking input from all of us here at Horizon House as they go through the process of designing something. And now it's my pleasure to turn the podium over to Erica, our CEO. went too far. There you go. Oh, sorry.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. All right, well, happy Earth Month. So love saying that at Horizon House. It's not just Earth Day here, it's Earth Month at Horizon House because sustainability and protecting this earth is so important to the residents here. And again, I'm always just overwhelmed with the amount of commitment that the residents have to, not only the things that, make your life and Horizon House better, but the greater world. So I'm very excited. One of the things I'm excited about the film screening that's going to be happening next Tuesday, April 22nd at 7:30 p.m. I'm grateful that the Environment Committee has really involved, me particular. They know I had an interest in the environment, and so we're able to share. And so I'm excited to say, we're evolving what we do as a staff here. Horizon House, to be very honest, we've benefited from all of the residents' hard work, leading the Environment Committee, leading the charge, doing the work. But it's not something we've really looked at in terms of how we do business, our everyday practices. And so that is something that we are doing now. The board adopted it last May as sustainability as a value. And so it's something we're leaning into, and we're looking at, just the way our business operates. As many of you know, the West Tower sustainable features are embedded throughout the entire building. We are seeking the LEED certification, the gold certification, but we are going to be working and creating a committee over the next year that looks at everything we do here at Horizon House, from the products we buy to the amount of printing that takes place, to really become a more sustainable business. So I'm excited about that. I want to share kind of some of the things I've been up to. I want to apologize to the community. I neglected to let everybody know that I was going to be gone for a week to 2 conferences. And so I'd just like to provide an update of where I'm at when I am not here and some of the things that I'm learning. And so I had the opportunity to attend the Caring Communities, which is our insurance company. If you don't know, Horizon House is a member and part owner of our liability insurance company. And they also help us broker things like our property and our directors and officers insurance. And being a member of that organization means that when that organization does well financially, we get a dividend check. And so this year we did receive dividends. And every year that you're becoming more vested, you get a little bit more. And so we have one more year till we're fully vested. But this year we got almost $70,000 back, which is amazing because we know our premiums are probably going to go back up. But again, if we were with a commercial type insurance company, we wouldn't be able to do that. And what we love about Caring Communities, it's not an after kind of effect, like, oh, you've had this issue, come do your claim. They spend a lot of time around, risk management, education, so that we prevent things from happening. We have a wonderful compliance team here, and we work hard, and we have a scorecard that we keep to make sure that we're doing all the right things to keep both the residents and team members at Horizon House safe, and everyone goes to conferences and they are educated on those preventative strategies so that we don't have to have claims. And I'm really pleased. We actually won an award from Leading Age last year, Leading Age Washington, based on, just our risk practices and how, we do a great job in mitigating the need to have claims. And so Caring Communities, the opportunity, Christy and I went for us to be educated, for us to engage, and they have these prescriptives is what they're called, and they finally gotten a prescriptive around assisted living, just helping with kind of those best practices. But I have to tell you, when I was reviewing it and sending it to our assisted living team, we do all of that stuff already. Many of the communities were like, oh, okay, we have to start doing this to get in line with what Caring Communities wants us to be. We far surpass any of the prescriptives that they put out there. So it just wanted to share that to let you know we have such good practices here at Horizon House, and we do it because it's the right thing to do, not necessarily because there's a regulatory body or an insurance company telling us to do it. Next, I went to the Leading Age National Summit, and it was a wonderful event in Washington, D.C. As many of you know, I'm on the Leading Age board. Had a wonderful time to connect with other leaders and to learn like what is keeping everybody up at night, what are people most excited about. I have to say Washington, D.C. was a very interesting place to be this time of year. One of the things that did happen, which was phenomenal, is something we've been working on for almost 2 years, is the mandatory staffing minimums in skilled nursing, which it doesn't impact us, but it impacts other senior living communities. That was finally vacated by a judge in Texas. And so it will stand, we hope, but not having the mandatory minimums means that more skilled nursings will be able to stay open. Many have started to close. They knew that they could not meet those staffing ratios. And what it was saying is that you had to have 24-hour RN nurses on staff at all times. And for a lot of smaller skilled nursings, they really cannot afford to do that, especially with the reimbursement rates being so low. And so there are many reasons why skilled nursings are closing, but that was one of them that was accelerating it. And it was a real worry for me. Again, we are fortunate here, but as you know, for many people, especially people who have their dual eligible between Medicaid and Medicare, their only options if they need care are a Medicaid bed and a skilled nursing. And so those closures mean there are even fewer people to help care for people who do not have the resources to pay for, the private pay assisted living. So that was a real huge celebration. The Leading Age National Summit was also very sobering. And so I want to talk a little bit about something that, the community's been asking about, and I'm going to share an article. It's called The Rising Storm, and it's a future-ready workforce. The author of that article was one of the keynote speakers, and he certainly painted a very grim picture of the future workforce, especially for healthcare organizations, and Horizon House fits within healthcare. And I'm sharing this not to be alarmist, because again, one of the things we can do is prepare. And I have to also say Horizon House is already in a good space because we have longevity with our team members, and we have such a positive relationship between our residents and our team members. And I want to share this article just so people can understand what is going to be the key differentiator in the future for senior living. We know that there's going to be plenty of older adults to come fill all of the units in senior living. Right now, we know that there are not enough units today based on what the projected need will be. But the real differentiator will be, do we have enough staff? And what the author of the article stated, he said, if you thought COVID was bad, and we remember COVID, that was like the outer bands of a hurricane. But we're headed toward a Category 5. And so we're doing a lot of work at Horizon House to really prevent any sort of disruption in services here. We're doing that through leaning into our culture. We had a wonderful retreat yesterday with an organization called Drive. We've shared a bit about Drive with you before around that whole culture survey that we took. We have a new culture team for Horizon House that's made up of cross-departmental team members at every level of the organization. They're looking at culture, and they're making sure that the values that Horizon House has are in alignment with our team members, and that we have this desired culture and that we're on our way to it. Because again, when people feel that values alignment, they stay. And we're going to need our team members to stay. So I just wanted to share that. If anybody is interested in reading that article, please send me an email. I can email it to you, and I can also have it posted on HH Connect, just so you can see. One of the things that it does talk about is, and this was written long before the election, but about immigration and how immigration was the answer to our staffing woes. And so just wanted you to be able to see that. And speaking of immigration, I just want to let everyone know on Thursday, we do have our all-staff meeting. And one of the things that I am going to share with our team members is around travel. As I shared with you earlier this year, that, I would not, if there are things that are just kind of hearsay, things that are changing, we weren't going to give any sort of directions or input on things that we didn't know for sure. But we know now that people who are not citizens, who are green card holders, are being detained. So we are going to share that with our team members. While we cannot stop them from traveling, we are going to really express our concerns with them being let back into the country, and that it is a real risk that we want them to consider. So, we are going to be sharing that. I do want to do a bit of an update about the West Tower. I first want to welcome, we have 2 new sales staff members. If Diane and Nate, if you can wave your hand. Nate Maldonado is our new sales coordinator. He started last week. And Diane Chung, today is your first day, correct? So today is her first day, and she is our new events coordinator. So they are joining our sales team. I know that there are lots of questions about, how are you doing with sales? So I just want to take a brief moment to kind of talk through where we're at. So as of this morning, we are at 84 reservation deposits. But I want people I want to keep this in perspective a bit. So think about this, if we were the North Tower, we would be at 84% filled. If we were Skyline's Olympic Tower, we'd be over full. We'd have a waiting list by now. If we were even Transforming Ages, brand new Juanita Bay, we'd have a waiting list of 34 people. So, part of why this feels like, oh my gosh, we're at 84 and we've got to get to 202, because we want to be full, of course. It's a big building. It's a very big building to fill. It's, bigger than most expansions. However, we do have time on our side. We have 40-month construction period where we're going to be selling all 40 months. And then our team, we were very conservative. We looked at what's going on with our neighbors. We certainly paid attention to Murano and their struggles. We paid attention to Olympic Tower. And so we have a conservative 3-year fill-up period. Now, I have to tell you, I am not going to take 3 years. We're not going to take 3 years to fill that building. We need to be filled, day one. We need to be in the 90% when we open. However, it's something that we plan from a financial standpoint, to plan conservatively. And I will tell you, the other thing that happened that is different for us, we thought that by now we'd have people changing their mind. We've had 2 people decide that, oh, you know what, I want to move my deposit to existing campus. One needed to move in early, so they moved their deposit to North Tower. And we had someone who was a West Wing resident who thought, we'll move to the West Tower and moved to the North Tower temporarily and said, we're happy there. So we didn't really lose anything. We really budgeted to lose far more people by now. So we're doing a great job with retention, which will help us as well. And we're going to continue doing that. Thanks to a lot of you just helping people when they come into Horizon House feel welcome. So, we're going to continue selling the units. We have so many events happening. We're going to be asking you to attend those events. We're going to be bringing our residents who've already deposited to things that we have here, like the art show, so that we can retain them. But I just wanted to say, I want everybody to keep it in perspective what we're really working with. And we are doing a great job, and we're going to continue with our new team members, and we have some other team members working on the back end. So that, I want to also give one more update on the elevators. That was, which, I will tell you, elevator 9 is currently down. We're waiting on a component that needs to be repaired. From Sean, there is a supply chain issue which made it go down for weeks instead of days, but we're hoping to have it fixed by the end of the week. And we hope that, in the future, we're not going to continue to have supply chain issues from parts coming from overseas. Elevator 2 is up and running as of April 4th. It had been down a while as well. They had a repair that was due to an electrical component, and it was also delayed due to supply chain. But we'll be monitoring supply chain, and if it looks like it's something that's going to be an issue, we'll make sure that we discuss it and talk it through at Facilities Friday. And then just want to hope I see everyone at next Friday, next Friday, April 25th, fireside chat. These months are just flying by. Pretty amazing. Thank you. Ronnie has said I have a few minutes for questions. We're gonna- Oh, thank you, Reese. Bill-
Can somebody run?
As I understand it, the door between the B-level parking in the North Tower and the entrance into the building is unsecured. Is that going to stay that way, or is that going to be secured as it used to be?
I am not aware of that, but I will find out and I can make sure that that information gets out. But I'm not aware of that. The question was about the door with the B1 garage in the north, B2 garage at the North Tower, that it is not secured. And John is asking, is it going to be secured? So I was not aware that it was not secured, but I will follow up.
Can you tell us when Comcast is going to finish in the North Tower?
That is
We
also.
want to watch the Mariner game.
Yes, I agree. So you said North Tower. I know that I believe are finished in Central Tower. Nancy, I will follow up with Brian Holtz and find out what the timeline is, because I'm not positive with what floor we're on by now or what units that we're on. So I will follow up with that as well.
I know.
Hi. I'm always the last person to know everything, but I have finally gotten to the place where I have to have my blood pressure checked regularly. And I have asked so many people about where I can get my blood pressure checked, because I remember when we had a nurse's station where you could go and get your blood pressures checked. And I've gotten so many different answers. So I'd like to know, is there a place where a person can go get his or her blood pressure checked?
Okay, finally, a question I do know the answer to. On the B1 level, there is, going toward the gym, there is a blood pressure machine that you want to have an actual healthcare provider. Okay, I apologize, but we don't have a provider on site that does regular blood pressure. We do have, the machine is what we have. Any other questions before I turn it over to Bill? All right.
Thanks, Eric. I have to get my technology together here. Nope. The title of this talk is Let's Leave a Sustainable Legacy. And I appreciate the invitation to appear before you during the celebration of Earth Month. The Environment Committee is working to leave a sustainable legacy in the Horizon House community. We think of sustainability as using our resources responsibly to ensure future well-being for all of us. With the encouragement, with our encouragement and the help of Trustee George Counts, the board adopted sustainability as a key value in May of '24. In the administration, you just heard from Erica about what she's beginning to do and this, how she's taking this seriously as a guide for her work. And as Ronnie Budge announced in March, the Residents' Council is also committed to promoting sustainability as a value and in working with committees in that vein. What I'd like to do is describe 6 committee efforts that we have that will help move sustainability. First of all, I need to find my own slides to see what my outline is here. Raising awareness of the environmental issues is a major focus. And we're raising awareness by promoting April as Earth Month with at least 16 separate activities, 5 in concert with other resident committees. We have a wonderful kickoff on Wednesday Night Live. Thank you, Nancy. You can check out the full list at the mailroom bulletin board. Jean Durning leads us in developing well-attended monthly environmental programs such as reducing plastic in the waste stream, which is coming on April 28th with Heather Trim of Zero Waste Washington. Nancy Najelski contributes the weekly Eco-News to the Alert, which explores many environmental and sustainable issues. She's also developed electronic sign messaging that encourages sustainable living practices, which have been running now for about 6 months. Carol Roach will be at an information table in the Fireside Lounge after this council meeting. Her topic is locally available cleaning products that avoid plastic packaging. And we're very proud to announce that Tom and Helen Spiro have authored a book of the general non-scientific audience to a general non-scientific audience entitled Earthwise, a guide to today's environmental issues. And there it is. And I had a lovely slide showing the book, but it will be published and available this summer. We also have quite a bit of advocacy of public policy, both at the state and local level. And we partner annually with the League of Women Voters to invite our 3 state legislators to discuss coming Washington state legislative sessions. There was one in December this year. And then we follow 20 environmental bills in this session, and we've been able to get 40 residents to be actively express their opinion or comment on those bills. And I appeared last year before the Seattle City Council representing the Environment Committee to speak in favor of the Seattle Building Energy Efficiency Law, which they then passed. Not because I spoke about it, I'm sure, but that helped. 5 environmental committee members have met monthly over the last 3 years with Methuen, Sean McMahon, and Eli Lemansky to help develop a more energy efficient, sustainable campus, including the West Tower. We also helped Horizon House secure $450,000 in grants for EV charging stations, and also a program transitioning from fossil fuel use to electricity for heating and cooling. We also received a enrichment grant. We are working with Barbara Brown, an environmental services manager, working on waste management. To develop a staff, we're developing a staff and contractor training video for proper waste management practices and a handout on proper practices for new residents. Now, Recology and Cedar Grove will be coming to hold a waste management workshop for residents on April 23rd, and that was arranged by Nancy Nijelski. Karen Fern meets with every new resident to provide them with a compost waste bucket and a handout on waste management practices. Bonnie Miller has organized volunteers called Dr. What for each floor to help with residents who have those any questions. And Barbara Brown reports that we have already reduced our landfill collections from weekly to every other week, but we have much more work to do for proper composting, which is why we're doing the workshop. Six committee members worked with six committee members worked with dining services staff to feature the Blue Zone buffets over the last 2 years. Cuisines from areas in the world which significantly longer lifespan due to mainly to the diet. And the focus is really on more vegetarian and other sustainable eating options. Chief Steve Carlson will offer on Earth Day a menu on the 22nd, which features vegetarian, seafood, and chicken options. And on Thursday the 24th, he plans a farm-to-table buffet highlighting local farm produce and proteins. We have long been advocates for an internal car sharing program at Horizon House and to help reduce the demand for parking. And it will happen this year. We begin with one electric vehicle. It is not going to be a Tesla. And expand the program as demand requires. We will support program orientation for interested residents. I hope that I've described this work. You've heard or read the names of the staff and residents who are up to their elbows in support of sustainability at Horizon House. Time won't allow me to name the many others who are also working on this, but demonstrate their environmental commitment by their care in day-to-day living. We believe Horizon House is a rare kind of community of residents and staff who can and will respond to a call for living practices that will leave a sustainable legacy. Thank you all. And now I'd like to introduce Joyce Greenwood and Gordon Oriens. Questions? Yes.
I am hoping that as an institution and as individuals, this is related to sustainability, we will make as much of a commitment as possible to avoid AI within our buildings and as individuals because of the massive amounts of energy it uses.
Well, what I suspect is that that's a question that's worth further consideration, and let's see what we learn in terms of the AI that's going to be, is it next Tuesday? Monday. You have a good point.
And there are those beautiful slides. And now on to Joyce and Gordon for talking about the spotlight on chamber music.
Thank you. Gordon and I are members of a very new committee, not the newest, I hear, but a very new committee. Several of us were sitting around last summer during the Seattle Chamber Music Festival in July, just saying, oh, this wonderful music. wouldn't it be lovely if we could get this at Horizon House? So Judy Ramey did a lot of the preliminaries. She talked to Ned about getting our committee going. We got an enrichment grant so that we could afford to fast track, or whatever it's called, the concerts from last July. So as they were happening, we had them in Anderson Hall. That's a little complicated, though, for our small committee. So what we did this February was show the virtual concert. And those are actual films of the committee, or of the concert, and those are shown in 14 states and all over the world. They have so much interest in Seattle Chamber Music Committee. So Nancy Federici is also lovingly showing some chamber music. And she had one practice session here of a violinist and a pianist, and it was wonderful. So we are thrilled that we're part of this amazing committee doing amazing, well, not doing music, but bringing music.
And we are very excited, and we're really serious, even though the third movement of a string chord is usually called a scherzo, and that's the Italian word for joke. But we're we're not joking. We're excited about the future because we're in such a wonderful place for chamber music. Seattle Chamber Music Society is world famous. It brings people from all over the country that want to come here. And as Joyce has mentioned, we have other talents around that Nancy Federici has helped us bring to here. So there are many options, and we think there's a lot that can be done in the future. So we have a rather small string quartet kind of committee, and we really like to expand it, and we hope we can find people who want to work with us that can think of other ways and new and imaginative ways to bring more chamber music to the Horizon House community. So if you are interested, Joyce and I will be out in the lobby afterward and be very happy to answer questions and maybe tell you why it would be important for you to do it. But Seattle is a chamber music city. We think Horizon House should be a chamber music place as well. Thank you. So, it was my pleasure to hand the microphone over to Sam Sperry.
Because of the success and your interest in the recent talks that were given by Kevin Hamilton from Perkins Coie on the lawsuits, and Ilona Bray's wonderful presentation on immigration, Bill Anderson and Joel Conley and I thought we should organize an effort to try to bring speakers of that caliber to Horizon House to address various and sundry public affairs when such a topic is indicated. And of course, the two that we heard were very relevant. So we decided to form a committee we're calling Talking Public Affairs. And our hope is to bring 4, perhaps 5 high-level speakers to Horizon House for an evening discussion followed by Q&A on topics of public interest and of moment. And when we use the term high quality, we're talking about people who have expert knowledge and who can talk at a high level or at a ground level all at once. And I think Kevin and Ilona really set a wonderful standard for that. Several people have told me how much they enjoyed those presentations, so that is what has inspired Talking Public Affairs. Our proposal went to the council at our planning meeting a week ago and was approved unanimously. We have a small budget, so we can pay honorarium when it's indicated. And the way we think this can work best is, one, getting suggestions for topics, and then finding speakers who really can address that, as I indicated, at a high level. Therefore, it won't be our job to talk about an environmental issue or a public affairs issue or a foreign policy issue. We can work with a committee if that's what they want to do. We will have evening slots, and if they have a budget, we can match it so that we can pay something more than a nickel or dime for people to come in. And some speakers, of course, won't ask for an honorarium. Our first speech will be on the 24th, which is next week, by Ambassador Susie Levine, who was the ambassador to Switzerland appointed by President Obama. She is capable of addressing a lot of topics relative to diplomacy and foreign affairs. And as you know from the current news, there's a lot going on between the United States and Europe. In the financial area, Switzerland, of course, is a financial capital in the world, so we're very excited about having her. So we are going to have a lot of fun with this. If you have ideas, suggest them to Bill or to Joel or to myself. We'll go to work on it. It will be difficult to get some speakers at the quality that we're looking for, so be patient if we don't get it done right away. But we're going to be open for business and probably won't do much in the summer, but be looking toward the fall. And with that, I want to thank you for your attention and hand it back to Ronnie.
So, as you know, the Ducks in a Row program is very important, and we are happy to celebrate the accomplishment of 3 of our residents, Don Morgan, Susie Pinu, and Mimi Richards. And if you are here, please stand so we can applaud you. And now we have the Monday Market Report from Jennifer Stucker.
Greetings, everyone. I should have had the salutation of Happy Earth Month, but instead I said Happy Tax Day. So, as usual, this month, every Monday in the market is unique. And each day ranges from crazy busy to yawning boring. Thank goodness for our veteran volunteers who are prepared for anything and stick to their work commitment. But spring and summer can be problematic as we try to find substitutes for people who are traveling or entertaining their family and friends. The season also brings those family members and friends into the market. It is fun to watch how surprised and happy they are to see the low price tags on the items. Speaking of traveling, I'll let you know that I will be gone from Horizon House from April 28th to May 12th. I have met with the clothing processors and provided an outline of the various needs and tasks. They are prepared to handle whatever comes up. Many thanks to Carol Allen, Marianne Counts, and Susan Barish for their extra time and effort. March's daily total deposits ranged from $821 to $1,716, with a total of 5 weeks of $7,063.75. Employee purchases for this time frame totaled $1,388, a weekly average of 277. We've been receiving many questions such as, what do you think about the planned relocation site for the temporary market? We responded in the positive. It's probably the best possible option. The residents seem to agree, although they have questions about specifics. So do we. Things will be different. I call Brian Colts the miracle worker for the way that he has visualized and managed to actualize a giant relocation puzzle. He was very cognizant and respectful of the market's needs and goals. Lately, Easter was featured in the market. Spring and summer clothing is starting to appear. New things arrive every day, but there is also a great deal in storage. Winter clothes continue to be donated, which means finding a place to store them for the season. If possible, please hold on to such items until October or November. I want you to know that the market will be in full swing in our current location until early November, so keep your donations coming. Lately, people have commented that we don't have much furniture. That is because we have not had many furniture donations. But we continue to sell what we do have. But one thing is grocery bags. We have way more than we need and way more than we can use. So if you can hold on to those until we put on an alert saying we need grocery bags, that would be great. We hope it is clear that the donation bins are not shopping carts. In other words, please do not remove items from the bins. Our volunteers pick up donated items on a regular schedule 3 times a day, which brings me to again recognize the contribution of our many volunteers that are working towards the success of the market. So thanks to all of you, and to all of you that come in and shop. And I would like to introduce our treasurer, so Karen Smith.
Good afternoon. And Jennifer mentioned that it's April 15th, and when you've been a tax accountant all your career, April 15th is a really big day. And my office for many years was on the 6th floor of the Coleman Building and I was on the 6th floor looking west, so I was over the viaduct, looked out at the sound, and you know what that means? You get a lot of seagulls. And one year on April 15th, I'm kind of tired. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it's all going to work. And 2 seagulls landed on my windowsill, looking at me. And I'm sure I heard them say, "We want married filed jointly." And so then I was struck with, how do you explain to a seagull that they don't need to? So, anyway. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, I'm not showing a lot of numbers because sometimes I think you look at them and you think, so what? So I'm just going to give you some thoughts about the year is 1 quarter over, and we have earned at the Monday market 20% of what we budgeted. And on the expense side, I mean, I said 25%, I think. Okay. the year is 25%, and we've spent 20. Okay, I'm sorry. And then we have spent 19% of our budget. That all sounds great. However, we do have our expenses have exceeded our income in excess of $3,000 because we adopted a deficit budget. And the decision of the board was we had built up a reserve. This is the time we need to use it. And so, and thanks to all of you, it isn't just the money, it's all of your efforts. We have amazing programming here, and I am very grateful for that. The Budget Committee is going to be meeting the 1st of June. There's a number of committees that are wanting more money, and we'll be talking about then. So if you are part of a committee that wants more money, submit something to me so I will know. If you want to know more about your committee, you can talk to your resource person. They have all the numbers, or you can go to the library. In the very back of the library is a notebook with the March 31st numbers showing for every committee what they budgeted and what they've spent. So those are our sources. And I think that's all I have to say, and I thank you all. I really, that's one thing, you watch the money going out. It isn't just the money, it's all the time. I listen to the public affairs people. I listen to the environmental people. It takes time and effort to do what they do. So I would like to now turn it over to Carly, who has something to say. And so we will.
So I'm simply standing in for Karen Perret today, and I get to say the draft minutes of the March 18th general meeting were distributed and corrected. If there are no further corrections, they are approved.
Thank you, Carly. And now it is time for burning questions and answers. Job that Anne fulfilled for so long, and now I will take my turn. The question is, what is the current dog policy at Horizon House? Dogs are allowed only if they are service animals, not just pets. They must be on a 2-foot leash. They're not allowed in the dining areas or the public amenity spaces or on Horizon House furnishings. Or in the Monday market, Jennifer reminds us. So, if you notice any instance where their dog is not behaving in the way that they should, or in a space where they do not belong, let Amanda Rubel know. She is the person who enforces the dog policy. And now we have a burning question for you, and that comes from Peter. Peter? Why am my mind is going? Peter. David Perrin, sorry about that, David. I'm sorry. Go ahead, ask your question.
At least I know who I am. I'm custodian of the CDs downstairs. We don't have, thank you all for, I'm custodian of the CDs downstairs in the B1 TV room. We don't have room for any more, so I appreciate all those people who want to make a donation, but we just don't have room for more. The room is going to be rearranged during the construction period, and I had a question of how many of you are actually using the CDs. Could I see a show of hands for people who... In your apartment, yeah.
Yeah, do you borrow the CDs from the room where they're housed now?
So I see 1, 2. Okay,
Maybe 3. Okay, there's your answer, David.
thank you.
Do you want to ask about DVDs? Okay, no. Thank you.
Although, for those of you who have CDs that you want to contribute somewhere, Jennifer doesn't want them. I have no room for them. And someone told me that they could go in the Goodwill bin, that they'll take them.
And I wonder if the public library might like them as well. No?
Well, when I tried to donate mine, they didn't want them.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
There's a question in the
Yes.
back.
Go ahead. Question, Sally?
I don't know that people know enough about the CD room, because I have told a couple of people that if they wanted to share a CD with their friend and they don't have a player, they can make arrangements to show it in that room. And it's a lovely evening with your friends that you want to share a video.
Sally, are you talking about CDs or DVDs?
DVDs.
Yeah, so that's a different issue.
Are there other questions before we adjourn? Yes, Anne Marie, wait for the mic.
You talked about the amenity areas for the animals not to be in. What do you consider those areas to be?
I think it means all the public areas.
Okay. So they've got to carry their dog?
Well, no, the idea is that if you have a dog, it should be on a 2-foot leash. You walk it in the closest entrance, the entrance to Horizon House that is closest to your apartment, and then either get on the elevator or walk directly to your apartment. And that's where it should be.
Ronnie, is it really a 2-foot leash? That
Ronnie, I had a situation where somebody came in with a big dog, and I said, "Well, your dog's not leashed." And he said, "Well, the dog is on a leash, but the dog was walking around, but nobody was holding the leash." And they were really nasty responding to me, and
Oh,
I'm
dear.
like, anyway. So for what it's worth, thank you for bringing
Okay.
that question up.
Okay. And you know, guests who come in are allowed to bring a dog. That's my understanding. But yes, they should be holding the leash. And I was told that it was a 2-foot leash. But probably if it extends to 2.5 feet, nobody's gonna challenge it. Are there other non-dog questions? Nothing? Okay. Then I would suggest, before you go, if you have a little time, do something that we've suggested in various meetings, just as a way to get acquainted with other people here. Consider staying for a little while and chatting with somebody that you don't know very well, perhaps about what was discussed at our meeting this afternoon. And I remind you that we have committee representatives. Please wait just a minute. Please hold your conversation just a minute. I want to remind you who will be out in the fireside lounge to answer your questions or hear your suggestions. I'll be there to answer, or not to answer, to take your burning questions. Bill Coriston, I hope, will be there for communications. Doris Ray is out the door for her dining services. Bill is here for environment. Mike Gould, is Mike here? Don't see him, but you could also ask Bill about resident safety. I will be there to answer questions in general about residents council, and Joyce and Gordon remind me that they are there for the opera. Thank you all very much for coming.